Soul Calibur 6 was announced.
Yeah,
I thought it was
that
kind
was
of cool
fun.
how they did it was, so go have one last thing to say. Does your soul still burn?
Yeah, I love
I
that.
thought for a second maybe they were going to go back to Soul Blaze,
So,
the original title.
So, was it Soul Edge? Or was it
Soul Edge, that's what it was
Yeah.
called. The original. So Soul Calibur 1 is really Soul Edge Part 2, but there's a lot of weird.
Yeah, the
Techno-
Soul Calibur. Yeah.
So it opens up and you get that announcer, that
iconic.
great iconic Soul Calibur announcer. The stage of history is set, like all that fun stuff.
And I love it because like there's probably so many memes, so many crazy things about that announcer guy because he says.
So poetic.
Yeah, for a battle too.
Yeah.
He's like a poet of battle.
He's almost like, I want to say almost everything he says is iconic, almost like Yoda. Like everything he says is going to be like this deep, meaningful thing. Like you can't just talk like a regular person. Does this guy go to like a restaurant and order a McDonald's without ordering like a
I think
madman?
he's going to introduce an RPG. No, it's just a fighting game for each round.
And I love it too because sometimes he'll say things. All the characters will be like, "That mask hides the true intent of the heart." It's like, what the heck? How do you know
This young girl picks up a sword and sees her destiny upon the horizon. And it's like all this, like, okay, we get it. You're epic. So we see like that classic kind of stage that you see in Soul Caliburs, and then you see Mitsurugi, which I'm assuming is Mitsurugi, but he looks like 19-year-old Mitsurugi.
Yeah,
I'm like,
really
whoa,
young, really
super young Mitsurugi, and then what seems to be Sophia, again, still young as ever. So if this is part 6, how this happening? And then they're fighting, and you see like some flashes. Maybe there's time travel in this game.
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
hope
it's
so.
their kids, like you were saying.
Yeah, or maybe it's a Mitsurugi's protege
Yeah, coming to battle.
that end up looking just like him.
Yeah, exactly. He picks people that looks like him. That's part of the rule.
And he didn't say his name is Mitsurugi. Like he didn't say it, so you can't say for sure that it's him. But it's a samurai, kind of like the scraggly, kind of a little bit of the beard going on.
The same kind of armor.
Yeah, the same armor.
And I'm hoping it gets back to the where it was at 4, because I don't think the last Soul Calibur was all that good.
Lizard Man.
Yeah.
I feel like the best Soul Calibur for me has been part 2.
Part 2 was the one that was on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Was ridiculously good. Then the one that when they added all the characters, remember
Yeah,
they had
the three
Link.
characters.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite
Xbox had
ones.
Spawn. Yeah, that was a good one,
Yeah,
too.
I love that one because it had a cool like story side mission mode where you can go through like all the different rounds.
I get a feeling with Soul Calibur games, what ends up happening is people just go to that create a character mode. Oh, I can make Barack Obama and all that kind of like weird,
silly
stupid
stuff.
stuff. I want to make my favorite anime
Yeah,
character.
I think it's just a generic thing instead
It
of...
pulls away from the story and the
Yeah.
characters because everyone keeps trying to make, I can make Hank Hill, like all kinds of stupid crap.
Bart
Oh,
Simpson.
yeah.
and all that,
So
yeah.
I think their course are going to have that because everyone loves it. It's like a system selling idea.
Yeah.
And then you need to bring back. Remember, there was like that weird kind of like RPG where you had to choose what path he took.
Yeah, that's what I was
The
talking
dungeons
about,
and
yeah.
everything.
And it was really cool
Yeah.
because you could pick a character and then you had to go through like a story mode of almost
Yeah.
like a long story
Since
mode.
we're talking about the Soul Calibur, did you guys ever play the Wii game when it was just an adventure game? I heard it was terrible.
Oh,
that
I
was
remember.
bad. It was
Yeah,
bad.
I never. I saw it when it first got announced. I'm like, I don't want anything to do
Yeah.
with this.
You know what? If the new game is a time travel, it would actually be kind of good because it would probably explain a lot of the history of Soul Calibur because it's really confusing once you start the actual.
Like who won what tournaments and what happened afterwards. Again, I'm surprised they went with Mitsurugi. He's iconic, but wouldn't you think Ivy or Nightmare, Siegfried? You think
yeah.
they're kind of more iconic over Sophia?
Or even what's his name?
Taki, the girl. That's the ninja girl.
And then also
The guy with the stick.
The guy with the stick. What's his name? Is it K? It starts with a K. Though.
Yeah,
Well, I think the reason why they went with that, this is just my feeling on it.
Maxie.
I think the
Maxie,
reason
yeah.
why is because I think if you look at the demos for the first Soul Calibur, it was those two characters. I could be wrong, but I think in some of the demos, when you don't play the game in the arcade, so maybe they're calling back to that.
Maybe to the original Soul Edge.
But how can you not have Nightmare or Siegfried be the? He's literally like the monster.
Yeah, he's the main bad guy.
Yeah, and he has the sword and he has the big giant arm. And I just want to see what the roster is. And again, since we're in, rosters can be hundreds of characters. There's no limitation anymore. So I definitely want to see, all the core people come back. I want to see Ivy. I want to see Nightmare, Siegfried. I want to see Raphael come back, but not as a vampire for some wacky
Just
reason.
regular, yeah.
Just regular Raphael. I don't need vampire
What about
Raphael.
Voodoo?
Voodoo. Oh yeah, Voodoo has to come
he
back.
needs to be
He's
back too.
He's like doing his weird backwards walk with his little blades.
He looks like a Cenobite.
He's a gimp of craziness.
Yeah, creepy too. Like
The lizard guy.
the Rock, which is like the Minotaur looking guy. Who else?
Ivy will always,
Oh,
obviously.
Ivy.
I loved playing Ivy, but every game she's gotten more and more
Well
Risque.
endowed.
adult porn star
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, my favorite character's always been Siegfried.
Siegfried, because he's such a cool
and
guy.
also his story's so freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I love that little. He's the hero of light. It's like when he has the soul edge and he chooses the light. It's like all crystal and everything's all cool looking.
Yeah, and then I love how the fact that Nightmare actually became its own entity for
Yeah,
evil.
like it's separated from him.
It's like every
Yeah.
time I don't want to buy a 2D controller for my Xbox One, more and more fighting games came out. I'm like, yeah, I might have to buy
And
the
that was another
controller.
thing too. I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, cool, Soul Calibur, this is great. Get to the end. I want to make sure it says Xbox at the bottom. Oh, thank God, it says Xbox. at the bottom.
Exactly.
And it's not a exclusive bullcrap.
And I hated that. Was that 5 that had that for Soul Calibur?
I know. I said, like Street Fighter was exclusive to the PlayStation.
Yeah,
And now it's so ticked me off. But to this day, I want to play it, but I don't have the
Yeah.
PS4. So.
But like I said, the roster I think should be full with all the characters from 4, 5. I want everyone in
have all the fun game modes. The tower.
tower.
Have the dungeon mode. Time attack boss. All the as many
Online,
little things you
yeah.
can have to a game.
Yeah, and my super wish list, I don't think will happen because I think I remember it was 4 might have been where they almost got the rights for the Lotus War characters. They didn't do it. That'd be cool to see them.
Yeah, they had generic versions of
them.
certain famous characters that they couldn't get the rights
Barn
to.
and Deela. Yeah,
Yeah, but I doubt they're gonna do anything like that.
no, I know.
Yeah.
That's a super
I,
wish list.
what
I'd
I
take
wish for maybe some more custom characters for each system. I think that would be kind of
Yeah, I
fun,
love
too.
how they kind of did that. That was
Yeah.
cool because Link actually fits the world of Soul Calibur in a weird, crazy way.
Yeah.
He actually fits in there, and Spawn is a cool idea too.
Yeah.
And then the PlayStation 1, I'm sorry, people love
Hitachi, but he had no weapon.
I know, he just had his fist.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm not a big Tekken guy, so I just don't really care for that franchise.
definitely the graphics are amazing, the music's
Oh,
there,
yeah.
the
Oh,
announcer, all that stuff. As long as they with Soul Calibur, it's definitely one of my more favorite 3D fighters. I also like Virtual Fighter was always my favorite, but Soul Calibur's right behind it.
Yeah, I love Soul Calibur a lot.
I'm not a big Tekken guy, even though the new Tekken added all kinds of fun characters.
I was one of my favorite 3D fighting game was Dead or Alive, but the last series
yeah.
game just fell off the cliff.
Oh yeah, when
4-5 was
Ikagagi
awful.
it was off the game. It's not
And it
the
was
same.
terrible. Yeah.
So, moving on to some more trailers, definitely glad to see fighting games aren't truly dead. They're still around.
they're coming back.
And hopefully with, DLC, tournaments, and all that stuff, these games keep evolving. Because Street Fighter released an arcade mode. Tekken's getting new characters, so we're constantly moving.
Well,
And then Dragon Ball Z, when it
Yeah,
comes
Dragon
out,
Ball.
that's going to probably have all kinds of characters.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I want to see in the coming years. I want to see a classic, almost like '90s version of a fighting game tournament like catalog where you have Street Fighter.
There's a lot to
Tekken,
pick from.
Soul Calibur, like those classic games.
So we have
making
Mortal
it come
Kombat,
back.
Injustice,
Yeah.
Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Dragon Ball Z Fighters,
Fighters.
and then we have some like the lower tier stuff like the Blaze Blue Cross
Those
game that they're
games,
doing,
yeah.
Guilty Gear. So we have a good catalog.
King of Fighters.
Yeah, the King of Fighters and
Fighters.
stuff, all that coming back.
Oh yeah, King of Fighters. I never thought about that, but because that's a game that's coming back too a lot, and also Smash Brothers and all that stuff. So I'm glad fighter games are breathing life again.
So moving on to another trailer.